Oluwafolajimi is finishing a graduate degree at George Washington University School of Business with a major in sustainable tourism management. Prior to that, he operated a startup tour guide company for 3 years, working as a contract travel guide to inbound tour operators, and organizes staycations and honeymoon vacations across Nigeria and Western Africa. And his presentation title is System Thinking, an approach to understand and implement sustainable travel policies. So with that, I will invite him to begin presenting. It looks like we're already on that. Thank you so much.
My presentation is about system thinking and approach to understanding tourism problems and implementing sustainable policies. And here we go. So my presentation agenda will cover system thinking versus linear thinking, and trying to analyze the old ways which we formulate tourism policies. And I take you to some types of system mapping approaches, and we go through how we can apply this thinking approach to understand the impacts we have seen in the tourism trend. And then we go on to strategic problem solving models and policy formulation. So as we all know, tourism activities as being impactful positively in our communities, and we also have some negative impacts which we have discussed. And in my research, I was trying to look at the way policies were formulated to promote or to support tourism in various destinations. And from my research, I was able to break down to this summary. I was able to look at systems, and systems from the research made me understand it's a way of interacting with interdependent parts that form a complex. I'm just going to summarize, form a complex and unified whole with specific purpose and thinking. So looking at tourism as a system, looking at tourism as an interconnected activity, talk about leisures, where we have hotels, straight down to restaurants, hospitality, and vacations. I for one realized tourism is an interconnected phase, and during the conference we learned about the interconnectivity that goes on in the tourism industry. And from my research, I realized that most policies were formulated mostly on linear thinking. That's so what is linear thinking, or what is system thinking? System, like I said, is an interaction of interdependent parts. And what is system thinking? System thinking is the consideration of all the components that makes up the system. And to understand this, I found this table that differentiates between linear thinkers and system thinkers. And as we can see, in our world today, we have linear ways of solving problems. People just look at it from the top days and apply solutions to it. And so in tourism industry nowadays, we look at the contents. I want to sell the destination. We do not have guests. What we do is we promote it. We need to do a campaign. Those are top days challenges when it comes to tourism, which is linear. It's actually a linear way of approaching tourism problems or formulating tourism policies. And if we take it all back and try to apply system thinking, I feel system thinking will approach the issue from the bottom up and look at the various components involved in it to apply solutions to the problem or a guideline to curb the situations or the problems such as climate change, biodiversity, over-tourism, and animal welfare issues or volunteerism gone wild nowadays. This is why I focused on this research. And as we can see in this table, System thinkers are concerned about the whole problem, which I think every one of us at Rise is actually concerned about the whole problem, not just the destination, not just the marketing material, not just what has been marketed to us or what's the animals that are used for leisure. We're actually concerned about how whatever is being done, either by the tourism industry or by the travel agents or by the tourists themselves, how it affects the community. In the course of our studies, we also realized that to achieve sustainability, we need to know that sustainability is a system state. It's connected to various activities such as the population, the carrying capacity of the destination we're talking about. If it's an island like Hawaii, it's important for the shareholders, which are the public or government parastatals, to understand the capacity of the destination before actually going out to call people in, which in learn affects the destination and becomes a tourism problem. This is one of the challenges I found out. So in my research, I was able to just put little points, which I'll just read through after this. We understand that tourism activities affecting destinations and causing various tourism are not linear. They are actually chaotic, and we call them wicked problems when we're learning this. And we know wicked problems cannot be solved by a linear approach. We need to look at we need to examine where it started from or what was the cause. And this is my take on this approach. From this, I will take us to the types, and we actually have various types of system mapping. And now, ever since looking at the trend of COVID right now, some things began to pop up. Some things began to be important. One which we noticed was behavioral smart tourism, where destinations actually, with the trend of the technology as well, look at behavioral trends to sell destinations. And we also have another, which is one of the map approach to system thinking. Another one is Iceberg model, which I will be digging deep to explain in this research. The casual loop approach and the connected circles approach. These are all system maps that government parastatals or shareholders could apply, or DMOs could apply to profile tourism policies. I will go further to discuss more on the Iceberg approach, which is more insightful than the other ones and kind of straightforward, helps us understand this system. And I'll take us up to the next slide, which is how do we apply system thinking to understand tourism problems? And I will be using the Iceberg approach. The Iceberg approach, the Iceberg system thinking approach is a pyramid it's just like an iceberg that shows us the various stages before we actually see the problem, the various stages that occur in a system before we can see, or before we see over tourism. Something has been going on before then, and it will be nice for us. It will be a better approach to delve below the surface of the event and help us see the bigger picture of how the system actually works and understand how we can make choices or how best to intervene to affect these changes. In the linear approach, we only work with the events, which is the top part. And please, if you cannot see my slide, please let me know. I can only see this, and I will correct it. Right. So I was talking about the Iceberg approach, and this approach is actually, as you can see, it talks about the events. Yeah, 5 minutes left. Okay. It talks about the events which we all react to, the anticipation pattern, which has to do with the behaviors, then the design, which has to do with the underlying systemic structure that has occurred over time. Then the mental model, what are the perceptions we have of the destination? What do people think about the destinations before they actually come there? These perceptions build up over time to the products we design, and people anticipate they want to come, then begin to become a problem when we have too much tourists at the destination. I move on to summarize other ways how we could apply this, how we could apply problem-solving model. This is an extraction from the Mackenzie Mind article, which was talking about how to strategically solve these problems, tourism problems. We all know destinations always have needs. They always look for competitive strategies, competitors everywhere, operational challenges, and organizational design, finances, high inflow of tourists. They want hotel bookings, they want local workforce. By the end of the day, these needs eventually become the problem. These needs haven't been met, eventually lead into problems such as over-tourism, climate change issues, where we have so much tourists and deposits of waste and unrecycled products at fragile environments. But in system thinking approach for destination management, it is pertinent to apply intuition and data to interpret and analyze the causes of all these things. Then we can understand. In the next slide, I'm going to show us how this really works. This process is understanding. This is a problem. This is a model that explains how it all occurs. The problem first, which needs to be disintegrated and understood, then analyzed by experts or DMOs, shareholders, then will be synthesized into a process that fits the environment, looking at the carrying capacity, the population, to form certain policies that will definitely be implemented. Then we get results. In my opinion, I do not have a lot of time to explain this, but in my opinion, I feel this is a model that can help tourism destinations achieve sustainable policies. It takes a lot of work, as we have learned. It takes a lot of work as a tourist to imbibe sustainable approaches. It also takes a lot of work as shareholders, DMOs, travel agents, or tour guides to also take these processes and put it into implementation, either by community participation approaches and public-private partnerships, and also having the conversations like we learned during the RISE travel during the certificate program, that there is a need for us to unpack these conversations so that we can have results that will be sustainable. I do not have enough time to explain this, and thank you so much, guys, for this. I am of opinion that if system thinking is being implemented in tourism approaches or in destination development approach, it will be a way for us to have lasting solutions, have better ways to approach real issues like over-tourism and the likes. Thank you so much. If you have any question, I'll be right here with you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for your in-depth discussion about how systems thinking framework is important and is an effective way to address structural problems. We really appreciate